What's up guys, welcome to Vintage Genetics, where it is all about classic bodybuilding. Today we'll be doing a chest workout with two guys from Jerusalem, which is going to be pretty amazing. And of course, we will start out with a big compound, the decline bench press on the Smith machine to save the shoulders. So it takes away the stability factor, so you can actually really focus on the maximum strength output. So that's what we'll be doing. So let's get started with the first warm-up set. So just a light weight.
So slower on the way down?
Yeah, you want to control the weight on the way down and really make sure to touch the chest as well.
Yeah.
Alright, so obviously this is a chest workout, and the decline bench press you can either do, of course, with a free weight, or you can do it in a Smith machine. I've been doing it in the Smith machine for a while. I used to do it free weight, and I switch around using both ways of doing it every now and then, but I like to first progress as much as possible using one way of doing it and then the other. So I'll be doing this for a few more months, and every time that I do this exercise, I log the weight that I'm able to do. So for example, the last few sets, you will see the last 2 sets of this exercise, I log the amount of weight and the amount of reps that I'm able to do, and next time I want to increase the amount of reps or the amount of weight that I'm able to do with this exercise. If I were to switch things around too much using different, you can do the decline bench press on the Smith machine or the free weight variation and call it the same exercise, but in reality, you use slightly different muscles, slightly different angles, like the tricep and shoulders are involved in a movement in slightly different ways, so you won't be able to transfer exactly how many reps and weight you do on one exercise compared to the other. So that's why you have to stick to one exercise for a long time, then really progress on it as much as you can, and when the progress stops, you can choose 2 things. Either you increase the food, or you can change up the exercise and start progressing on that exercise again, so you can never actually stall. This, in my opinion, really made training a lot more enjoyable, even more enjoyable than before. And by the way, this is the last heavy set that I'm doing on the decline Smith machine bench press. So I was able to do 8 reps of this weight. So for example, I write this down, and next time I try to do 9 reps of this weight. And I like to do this until I hit 12 reps, and then I choose 190 kilograms, for example. That way I'm able to progress every single time. And if there are 2 to 3 workouts that I still am plateauing on the same weight and reps, then I'll move on to a different exercise. That's usually how I like to do it. But you will be several months into doing that exercise already anyway. And then I'm doing a back off set. I take 20% of the weight of the heaviest set off, and then do another set after having enough rest, of course, and do as many reps as possible.
Right guys, after having done a very heavy decline bench press, which means your hands are fixed to the bar, so now we will do a dumbbell exercise so you can actually balance out the chest, because now both arms are free. It's going to be a different angle, the incline dumbbell press, to hit the chest from a different angle, plus it's a different way of hitting the chest because there's another range of motion and another angle to hit it from. So let's do it.
Then of course another old school exercise, the incline dumbbell press. So we just did the decline the Smith machine bench press, and now we're going to do the incline dumbbell press. And the difference, of course, is with the decline your body is downwards, your upper body, and with the incline it is angled upwards. That simply targets the muscle that you're training from a different angle, which is what bodybuilding is all about. So in my opinion, for example, if you train the chest and you want to do 3 different exercises, 3 different pressing exercises, for example, you don't want to do a flat bench press, a flat dumbbell press, and a flat chest press, because that will hit the chest. They are different exercises, but it hits the chest from the same angle. whenever you hit a different angle, you will hit muscle fibers in a different way, so that they will actually be overloaded in ways that you cannot overload them using a flat angle, for example. So with this incline angle, you simply hit muscle fibers in a way that's unique to this angle, and that way you will get a full and complete chest. So always play around with the decline, flat and incline positions, and also don't put the decline or incline too steep. So I personally like to do it on the least steep setting. So on this bench it's just one setting up and one setting down. A lot of people go up a lot higher, but then the shoulders are way too much involved. I don't feel the shoulders here at all. And just like with the previous exercise, I log this weight and reps as well. So on this 55 kilogram incline dumbbell press, I log how many reps I'm able to do without the spotter helping me, of course, because that's the way you should log. Don't say you have done 12 reps if you only did 10 reps without the spotter, otherwise you will never be able to beat yourself if you don't have a spotter. But then we do another back off set. I really like to do this to combine a heavy weight with enough volume for the incredible pump required for optimal muscle growth. At least for me, that is the case. So again, we take 20% off the heaviest weight that we use, take enough rest, and then do another set with as many reps as you possibly can do with that lighter weight.
Alright, the next exercise is going to be another classic one. The free weight dips with the body weight, of course, on the belt squat machine from ATX Fitness. A very good machine for sure. It allows you to first do free body weight, so just your body weight. And then you can put on a belt that actually increases the weight every set you do. So we will do it right now. It's really good for the stretch of the lower chest and full chest development. So let's do it.
Yeah.
Now, I really love doing chest dips. Why do I love them? Because it hits the chest from a very specific angle that will really hit the lower pecs. So the deeper you go, the more stretch you will experience in your chest, and the better the stretch is, the better the effect on muscle growth will be in that area. The lower chest is the biggest portion of the chest that you are able to grow, so when that grows, basically the entire chest will look enormous anyway. So if you look at my form, I like to go just a little lower than 90 degrees. Some people cannot do this due to shoulder problems, but that's why I always like to include this one to keep the shoulder mobility healthy. You want to be able to go all the way down and all the way up, but don't force yourself all the way up, because if you look at my arms, I don't lock out my elbows. Because in my opinion, if you do that, all the stress is on your joints, on your elbow joints, and you want the stress to only be on the chest to cause that time under tension to be there without a break in between every single rep. So here again, this is going to be the heaviest set, 50 kilograms on top of my body weight. I weigh around 120 kilos, so that's 170 kilograms in total that I'm dipping right here. I've become a lot stronger in this exercise compared to before. I used to only do body weight dips after having done some chest exercises, but now I'm able to add some weight because I log and beat my lifts every time.
Okay guys, now it's time for the cable flies. We just did the dips. Again, quite a fixed exercise, so we're switching it up between fixed exercises and free, exercise where your arms are free. So with this you have a lot more freedom. As you can see, the cable flies allow you to fully stretch, but also have full tension on the contraction part. The bodyweight dips are more for the stretch, because when you go upwards you cannot really contract the chest as much. With this one you can actually finish off the chest very well, which is why we're doing 15 reps at least to really get a full pump in the chest to finish it off with. So let's do it.
Now, the big difference between chest dips and chest cable flies, and specifically the cable flies, is the contraction portion. If you looked at the previous exercise, I really only focused on the stretch, and here you can really see when you look at the pectoral muscles that not only the stretch is important, but also the contraction. That's why I like ending with a fly variation, especially the cable flies, because with cable flies you're able to keep the tension on the chest chest from the fully stretched position to the fully contracted position. And you want to be able to squeeze the chest for a maximum pump, maximum mind-muscle connection, and to carve in those details in the chest. Because in my opinion, if you do this year after year consistently, compared to someone who always does a half range of motion, that person who does half of the range of motion won't have as many details in the muscle carved in compared to, for example, me, because even in the lean bulk right now, my body fat percentage is a lot higher. Well, not a lot higher, but it's higher than a contest shape. All the striations in the chest are still very much visible because the striations there are deeper, etched deeper into the chest because of using a full range of motion and really specifically focusing on utilizing that squeeze. Because without the squeeze, in my opinion, you do not perform the exercise completely, and if you don't perform it completely, you simply have to choose a lighter weight. So here you have to balance out a high weight with a full range of motion and at least 15 or 12 to 15 reps, in my opinion, to get a very good finishing pump.
Right, so the next exercise is going to be for the triceps. We did 4 good ones for the chest. Now it's time for the triceps, starting out with a good, really good isolation one for the triceps behind the head, so an overhead one, and an incline setting to really target that long head of the tricep. So if you do a frontal bicep, the hang of the triceps goes lower, which is of course what everybody wants. So let's do it.
Now that we did the chest, it is time to hit the triceps. So for chest, we do 4 exercises, and if you go all out on all 4 exercises, that's all you need. I see some people and even some IFBB pros doing 5, 6 or even 7 chest exercises in one workout, but in my opinion that is too much. You want to stick to the basics, like I stuck to 3 basic exercises and then finishing it off with an isolation movement, which for chest is always the flies. And then we do the triceps. They are already nice and pumped up, nice and warmed up, so I like to start out with this Skullcrusher variation, an incline Skullcrusher variation. The incline version compared to the flat version, the difference is that the squeeze the stretch at the bottom is a lot more efficient, because the stretch will come much sooner because of the angle that you're in. If you would be flat, you would have to let your arms go down a little lower to get the same stretch feeling in the triceps, and the only way to let the long head, aka the biggest head of the triceps, grow is to properly stretch them out. So you really want to go as low as possible without losing tension on the triceps, and then go upwards, squeeze the triceps without losing the tension. So don't lock out all the way to the top, don't let the weight rest on your elbows, because that first of all is a recipe for tendinitis, for having painful elbows. That's not what you want. What you want is all the tension to be on the muscle and not the tendons, not the elbows, but only feel the muscle burn, and in pain, the positive pain that causes growth.
Okay guys, the second tricep exercise is going to be another overhead one, but this time with a cable to maximize the tension on the stretch part, but also keep the tension on the contraction part, which is more difficult to achieve with a dumbbell. So let's do this overhead extension, but close gripped, so you can actually have a better angle to hit the long head of the triceps.
So I really like this exercise as well. We are doing another exercise that targets the long head very efficiently, but this time you can really contract very nicely as well, because the tension will simply still be on the triceps because it's a cable exercise, constantly pulling the weight backwards. So you can see, if you look at my forearm compared to the upper arm, I'm going backwards a little more than 90 degrees. Lots of people get taught at the very beginning that you should only move the forearm 90 degrees upwards compared to the upper arm to properly train the triceps, but in my opinion, the bigger and better the stretch is, the better the effect on hypertrophy on those triceps will be, because you want to to fully stretch those muscle fibers, because even in science, especially in science, it has been proven that the muscle responds best from a stretched position onwards to muscle growth compared to, for example, doing partial reps at the very top. So that is useful for strength purposes, but not for muscle gain purposes. And what we want to do is that our muscles grow as efficiently and as much as possible. So here I'm going quite heavy, going all the way back, stretching those triceps out, and then squeezing as I go all the way forward again, using a full range of motion. By the way, if you are used to going quite heavy on this, you know that you also train your abs quite efficiently here, so that's just another accessory benefit of this exercise.
Alright guys, the last exercise of the day will be an underhand tricep push down with one hand. So if you have a weakness in one arm compared to the other, you have to start with the weaker arm to fix those imbalances. The underhand push down for the triceps is really good for the long head, but also the short head when you do the proper contraction. So let's get it started.
And the very last finishing exercise is the uni-lateral underhand tricep push down. The benefit of underhand is you can really squeeze the triceps efficiently. So what you want to feel at the very end of the contraction is those, you really want to feel the squeeze. If you're not able to fully extend the triceps, you simply are going too heavy, and you should lighten the weight, because it's all about the contraction on this exercise. In my opinion, you're not really going that heavy, and if you don't go that heavy, you can stretch the triceps all you want, but there won't really be a response. So this is really just a finishing, detailing exercise to really get those details in and to really target the small head of the tricep as well. And the best way to target that small head is to really squeeze it at the very end, which is what I'm doing right now. I'm only going to do 2 sets of this, because with a finishing exercise, it's no use to do a lot of volume, which won't do a lot for muscle growth at all. It'll only slow down the recovery process. Of course, training arms is a lot of fun, but you have to think about it logically as well. Even doing 3 tricep exercises after a chest workout is quite a lot, but I like to, I like to finishing it off once in a while when I still feel I have something left in the tank. But as you can see, it only took a few reps before my triceps gave in already, and this is quite a heavy weight for me. If you do it correctly, you can do a lot heavier if you use a lot more momentum, but what I'm doing here is I'm going all the way up for a maximum stretch to utilize a full range of motion, so I can actually use more muscle fibers to pull blood in for the maximum pump and the maximum effect on muscle growth.
Alright guys, that was the end of the workout, of the chest workout. Now we are fully pumped up with the chest and the triceps. You of course have to hit some poses to actually feel a better mind-muscle connection with the poses, which I tell you guys to do a lot. And of course just to practice what it's like to do poses if you truly want to call yourself a bodybuilder. So let's start with the side chest. Alright, put the legs together, then hit the old school side chest. And then a tricep exercise. We just did pumped up the triceps, so it's time for the tricep pose. Put your legs, show off the calf of the other leg. Put your hands behind your back. Then tense the tricep like this. Alright, and then an exercise that shows the arms and the chest. It's going to be a most muscular pose. Gonna put the arms together, just like this. And then pump up the chest, the arms and the shoulders. Alright guys, I want to thank you for the workout.
Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you. Amazing
Thank you
workout.
for traveling to the gym. And of course, what should you never forget to do?
Stay golden.
Stay golden.
Yes.